जय श्री गोपाल भट्ट गोस्वामी पाद की जय, श्री नम परमाल की जय, श्री रंगनाचार्य की जय, श्री प्रभुपाद की जय. Hare Krishna. So today we speak from the pastimes of Nam Paramal, an important acharya. He is known as the savior of Ranganath. That is Pillai Lokacharya. So Pillai Lokacharya, his temple is situated in SriRangam, right in front of the temple of Ramanujacharya's temple. In the eastern side of Ranganath's temple, near to Ramanujacharya's temple, there is a separate temple. In front of that, a big hall is there. That temple, it is separately mentioned temple for Pillai Lokacharya. So every time we go in front of the Pillai Lokacharya, when we go to Ramanujacharya's darshan, so we will say that Pillai Lokacharya is the savior of Ranganathji, because he is the one, he protected the deity of Namperumal, he protected all the literatures, he saved all the Vaishnava Sampradaya, everything. So today if we have whatever left in SriRangam, it is all because of Pillai Lokacharya. So Ranganathji himself was saved by Pillai Lokacharya. So it is said that Pillai Lokacharya, he is an incarnation of Supreme Lord Varadaraj. Kanchi Varadaraj himself, he is appeared as Pillai Lokacharya itself. Just like we have in our Gaudiya Sampradaya, so many acharyas, like Veer Chandra Prabhu, the Nityananda Prabhu's son, he is said to be the Supreme Lord's incarnation. Like that, so many devotees are there. So for the particular purpose in preaching, sometimes the Supreme Lord also appears. So maybe because of that time, so many Mughals, so many demons attacked SriRangam. So before only knowing that, the Supreme Lord might be appeared as Pillai Lokacharya. Actually, Pillai Lokacharya's father is Vadakku Tiruvidi Pillai. It's another great devotee. So Pillai Lokacharya was born in SriRangam only. So Vadakku Tiruvidi Pillai is also a great devotee. His father is, his guru is Nam Pillai. We already discussed the pastimes of Nam Pillai. How just for Nam Pillai, when he gave class, the Supreme Ranganathji, he personally came out from the temple and he listened to the class of Nam Pillai. Also the pillar which slanted just to give a comfortable seat for Nam Pillai. Also how a deity of Nam Pillai, he asked from Nam Pillai for different things. So we discussed already about these pastimes of Nam Pillai. So Nam Pillai is a great acharya. His disciple is Vadakku Tiruvidi Pillai. Vadakku Tiruvidi Pillai is almost like a right hand for Nam Pillai. So this Vadakku Tiruvidi Pillai was totally a detached person. Although he is a grahastha, he was totally detached from the family life. He will never meet his wife, never go to his wife also. So such a way he is all the time serving in the Guru's ashram, like that. So just something like that, we will hear about the story of Lochan Das Tagore, like that. Then this Vadakku Tiruvidi Pillai's mother, one day she came and complained to Nam Pillai that, oh Swamiji, my son who is your disciple is not at all coming to his house, is not at all meeting his wife. So I am afraid, the time is passing, they don't have children, so our descendants will stop from here itself. I am very much afraid. So if it is possible, kindly send him to house, let him meet with his wife. The Vadakku Tiruvidi Pillai's mother requested Nam Pillai. The Nam Pillai Acharya, he called Vadakku Tiruvidi Pillai and told, you are a grahastha, you should do your duties properly. So it is my order, you should at least once you should meet your wife. Today you go and meet your wife. Because you are all the time engaged in the Lord's service, you are fully forgetting about your family. Now it is my order, you should meet your wife, and I am blessing you that you will have a son like me. son like me, you will have a son. Like that, Nampillai blessed Vadakku Tiruvedi Pillai. So, taking the order of the Guru, Vadakku Tiruvedi Pillai, as a duty, he met his wife. He associated with his wife. Then, very soon, after 12 months or something, he got a son, that is Pillai Lokacharya, a great devotee. It is said he is an incarnation of Kanchi Varadaraj himself. Such a great devotee was born. Then everyone was so happy to see this beautiful child with the lotus-like eyes and beautiful forms. So Nampillai himself, he kept this child in a palakin, and with all the other devotees of Srirangam, they took this Pillai Lokacharya in baby, they took him to Ranganath's temple to show to Namperumal. Then they brought the Namperumal, he gave Charanamrita, Prasada, garland, everything to the Nampillai and the devotees. Then Namperumal, with his sweet mouth, he spoke, "Hey Nampillai, you gave a son just like as you. It is my order that you should also create a son just like me too." Like that Namperumal spoke. Namperumal is always very sweet. He will create very nice funny words he will speak, and he will order also. Sometimes he will order also. He is always speaking to the devotees. So many devotees he spoke. So one day Namperumal, he spoke to Nampillai, "You should also create a son like me also." Then Nampillai, accepting that order, he again ordered his disciple Vadakku Tiruvedi Pillai. Then by the order of the Namperumal, the another son was born to Vadakku Tiruvedi Pillai. So therefore that son was named after Namperumal. The Namperumal's another name is Alagiya Manavala Perumal. So therefore that son, who is the brother of Pillai Lokacharya, he was named as Alagiya Manavala Perumal Nayanar, like that. So these two sons, they were very great devotees from the childhood. It is said they were like Ram and Lakshman. They were like Ram and Lakshman, like that. And they were totally attached to Ranganath, and they were all the time studying the Shastra, and filled with all kinds of compassion, all good qualities. Everyone was so attracted to these two children, Pillai Lokacharya and Alagiya Manavala Perumal Nayanar. So later, the father initiated the Pillai Lokacharya and others. So in this way, Pillai Lokacharya and Alagiya Manavala Perumal Nayanar, these both of them, they dedicated themselves in the mission of preaching the message of Ramanujacharya and the Alvars. So they decided to remain as brahmacharis, Naishtika brahmacharis. So both of them, they were very strict to the principles of brahmacharya. They lived as Naishtika brahmacharis. They never married. So in this way, they started, learned all the Shastra, and he started giving commentaries to the commentaries of the previous acharyas. So in this way, there was one devotee called Manarpakathu Nambi. He was somewhere near to Tirupati. He came to Kanchi Varadaraj, Manarpakathu Nambi. So Lord Varadaraj personally instructed some secret meanings of the Alvar's songs. Then Lord Varadaraj told, the remaining part I will give you in Srirangam. You go to Srirangam, there I will give you. Then this Manarpakathu Nambi, he came to Srirangam, and there he went to the Katanige Singer, the Narsingadev temple. There he seen this Pillai Lokacharya was giving class. So then this Manarpakathu Nambi, he was standing behind a pillar and he was listening to the class of Pillai Lokacharya. Then that Manarpakathu Nambi, he realized whatever the meaning, secret things was told by Kanchi Varadaraj, the same thing Pillai Lokacharya also saying the same thing. Then Manarpakathu Nambi got shocked. Whatever he left over, the same thing also, whatever Varadaraj told, I will tell you in Srirangam, that also Pillai Lokacharya was told everything to him. Then this Manarpakathu Nambi got shocked. He could understand that this Pillai Lokacharya is not different from the Kanchi Varadaraj. Then he asked in Tamil, "Oh, Neer Avaru, oh, you are that person? You are that Varadaraj?" Then Pillai Lokacharya just smiled. "Okay, so what? So what?" He asked, "So what?" In this way, the Pillai Lokacharya, that he proved that he is the Varadaraj himself. Whatever he said, he will tell in Kanchipuram, remaining thing in Srirangam, that all thing Pillai Lokacharya has told, that leftover things. In this way, Pillai Lokacharya proved that he is Varadaraj himself. In this way, the Acharya, he wrote commentaries for all the great literatures of the Alvars. Especially his one book called Sri Vachana Pushanam, that is very famous. In that he wrote the different principles of, very secret principles of devotional service. And how to, a Vaishnava, how he should eat, how he should live, how to serve the devotee. All these things. In this way, he wrote very special 18 books. Mumukshupadi. So many books he wrote, Pillai Lokacharya. Most secret, confidential secrets in the devotional service. Later, the another acharyas called Manavala Mamuni, these acharyas also, they took the Pillai Lokacharya's books are the most authorized books. So then some of them was envious of Pillai Lokacharya. They would not agree with Pillai Lokacharya's certain points. Then his brother Azhagya Manavala Perumal Nayanar, he wrote another book called Acharya Hridayam, and he convinced whatever his brother wrote, it is perfect, like that. So in this way, he was developing the Sri Sampradaya literature, and he was giving initiation, and he spread the Sri Sampradaya very nicely. He protected the Sampradaya very nicely. So Pillai Lokacharya had many wonderful disciples. One of them was Kura Kulottama Dasar, and every this Kura Kulottama Dasar, then Vilancholai Pillai, then Thiruvayumozhi Pillai, Manarpakathanambi, like that many devotees. Each one of them have very wonderful pastime. This Vilancholai Pillai and all, he has very nice pastime with Ananda Padmanabha. He used to live in near to the Padmanabha temple in Trivandrum. So nice pastimes are there, with each of these great devotees. Those who are all appeared from the spiritual world. Like that. So in this way, this Pillai Lokacharya, he was writing many books and he was spreading nicely the Sri Sampradaya. At that time, these Mughals in 1323 or something, in the Christian era, so that time only these Mughals attacked Srirangam. The Muslims, the terror Muslim, the envious fellows, they attacked Srirangam temple. That time Pillai Lokacharya is the one, he protected the Ranganathji. Therefore, he is known as Savior of Ranganath. He constructed stone wall before the main deity of Ranganathji, and he took Namperumal deity along with him, and with the Sridevi and Bhudevi and Namperumal deity, and he very confidentially took the deities towards the south, crossed the Kaveri, he entered into the jungle. Meanwhile, Muslims came here, they killed so many people, they have broken the temple, they did so much atrocities. But the main goal of the Muslims was to attack Namperumal. But the Namperumal was saved by this Pillai Lokacharya. He lived for next 48 years with Namperumal in the forest. So maybe it is a desire of Namperumal to live with Pillai Lokacharya. That also we don't know. Then in this way, he was in the jungles for 40 years or something. That time, meanwhile, some thieves will come. So out of his compassion, he will preach the thieves. Then the thieves all became his disciple. They serve Pillai Lokacharya very much. So he was so compassionate person. He doesn't have any enemy. He is all the time very compassionate to anyone. Also, his main contribution is he gave the commentary for the Nampillai's commentaries. In 36,000 verses, he gave detailed commentary. That is a very important contribution for Sri Sampradaya. That's called Muppattarayira Padi Eid. They call like that. So in this way, he was in forest for many years. So in some time, when the Muslims come, he used to carry the Namperumal deity and behind tie him, and he will climb on the hills, very cliff hills he will climb. Then another time when the Muslims came to attack on the hills, with the Namperumal, he was holding Namperumal like this, he jumped from the mountain. Then when he will fall down, he was afraid whether Namperumal will get damaged, so he will fall himself on the stone. That's so that Namperumal will get protected. In this way, he is dedicated, he sacrificed his life just to protect Namperumal. So therefore he is known as Savior of Ranganaji. So we will only know very little, few here and there little stories we know about them. But most of the other stories are known to the Srirangam's great souls. They know much about these pastimes of these acharyas. We are only whatever heard, little bit here and there, how much they sacrifice. Little stories only we know about these acharyas. So in this way he protected Nampermal. Finally he, in a place near Madurai, there is a big huge mountain. It's called Anai Malai. It looked like an elephant, that mountain. Under that cave he was hidden Nampermal there, and he was worshipping Nampermal along with his disciple in that mountain caves. Then later, when it's the time, appropriate time came, he has to leave the body. He even in that condition, in his old age also, he used to show compassion to the nearby animals and birds and everything. So compassionate he was. Anyone, any animal, even it's attached to, connected to Pillai Lokacharya, he will send them to Vaikuntha itself. Such a kind of person is. And finally, he handed over the Nampermal deity to his disciple Thiruvaimozhi Pillai. Then he told, my dear Nampermal, I don't want to see your forest Vanavasa Leela. I want to see as a Dasharatha Maharaj's son in the Ayodhya. Like that I want to see, like that he said. Then he given the deities to his disciple. Then in the forest only, Jodhishkudi, there is a place called Jodhishkudi. Sometime if you go to Madurai, near to Kallalagar and Tirumogur, there is a special temple of Narsingadev temple. Nearby that, somewhere nearby that only, that place called Jodhishkudi. Because some say that when the Pillai Lokacharya was worried where to keep the deity, then some light came itself, some place. That's why it's called Jodhishkudi, Jyoti, light. So that cave is still there in the near to the Madurai, Jodhishkudi place, in which place the Pillai Lokacharya left his body and he handed over the deity to others. Then his disciple, they took the deities in some more in different forests. After so many years, they brought Nampermal back to Srirangam. So in this way, when there was a heavy crisis in Srirangam, when the Mughals was attacking, they went so much troubles in Srirangam, that time the Pillai Lokacharya is the one who protected Srirangam and Nampermal. So we can see still the Pillai Lokacharya's deity, like a very beautiful deity in Srirangam, round face. During the Vaikuntha Ekadashi and festival time, Pillai Lokacharya deity also will come in front of Nampermal and attend here the kathas of Alvars and the songs of the Alvars. So Nampermal, even now he is honoring Pillai Lokacharya. Now some special festival he has special respects and these things. Shri Pillai Lokacharya ki jai, Shri Nampermal ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.